The basketball tournament. $2 million at stake for the winners. As this tournament continues, former college players playing professionally overseas getting their game on here at the Capitol Center at Capital University in the Bexley suburb of Columbus, Ohio. It's the West Virginia Wildcats and Big X. We'll tell you a little bit about Big X's coach because we know somebody who knows him. Welcome back to Columbus, Ohio for the basketball tournament. Paul Keels and Indiana's favorite matinee idol, Dan Dockich. Great to work with you again. Great to see the basketball tournament displaying people's skills, Dan.
Yeah, you know what? $2 million, winner take all. Don't be soft. Don't cry about it. Just win, keep moving, run over there to the wall, put your name on, and lose. See ya.
And
that's simple.
We've seen some people do that already today. But this is a matchup of some teams that have some familiar names that played here in Columbus a year ago in this event. And a guy making his coaching debut that certainly must have had some good input from his old man.
Andrew Dockich coaching Big X. He put the team together, and he's going to coach it. He played last year with an ACL. We're going to have him mic'd up. I wish I could talk to him because I'd be giving advice. But they're going against a good West Virginia team. John Elmore from West Virginia, the only player in NCAA history with over 2,500 points and 750 assists. I saw him play. He didn't get to play a lot with Boston in the summer league, but man, is he a good player. He's going to go play in Italy in the first division next year.
Well, we saw some interesting games earlier today here in Columbus. Red Scare, made up of a bunch of former Dayton Flyers, advancing where their next opponent will be Mid-American Unity. But what we can tell people, Dan, about Red Scare, this place was full of Dayton Flyer fans.
I always say it, Paul, and we've seen it in the TBT. Wichita, Kansas, Dayton, Ohio are the two greatest unknown places for basketball in the entire country. I believe this is true. I believe over 60,000 tickets, maybe 70,000 sold in Wichita, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this event go to Dayton next year. I mean, Dayton showed out today, packed house.
They certainly did. That is, as you said, Dan, it is a great basketball community. Some of our rules for the basketball tournament. Everybody sees it referred to as TBT. 4-minute quarters, 9 minutes. You get a chance to see that the foul count mirrors what happens in the NBA. The international goaltending rules are in place as well. Fifth foul of each quarter, there will be 2 free throws granted automatically. The goaltending we talked about, that is mirroring what goes on internationally. Timeouts, there's how that plays out, and we'll talk a lot about the Elam ending as well. But we get a chance to hear from the coach of Big X, Andrew Dockich, who is with our friend Jen Hale. Jen.
Indeed, guys. I have the man of the hour here. Andrew, congratulations on your coaching debut. You played for this team last year. Give us a little glimpse. Where are your strengths tonight?
I think our strengths are inside. I think we got a unique group with some interior presence that we probably didn't have last year. I'm really excited about our guards. Probably more athletic than our guards last year, considering I was on the court at times. So I'm looking forward to this team when we're playing.
Are you enjoying the coaching process? I know this is your first test, but what do you think so far?
It's been great. The guys have been really receptive, and ask me that after the game. There's a lot going on for sure. So.
And finally, your dad loves to critique you. Do you have any messages for him tonight before we tip off?
No, just don't rip me. Just don't rip me. Just don't rip me. That's all I got.
Thanks, Andrew. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Well, certainly Andrew has the distinction, and he may be, Dan, the only person that's ever played basketball, both at Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, unbelievable. And what a great opportunity to play for 2 incredible coaches. I mean, John Beilein put him on scholarship. It was kind of a YouTube sensation when they brought the police in and faked him out. Ended up on scholarship. And then Chris Holtman, middle of the summer, brought him at Ohio State, and he has been the most fortunate kid ever to be able to play for 2 great guys.
Well, he gets a chance to coach, and he'll have a couple of former Buckeyes on his roster, Keyshawn Woods and C.J. Jackson. Jayshawn Tate is not in uniform. We had expected that the former Ohio State star would be playing. He is not. At least he wasn't as of a few minutes ago. But this West Virginia Wildcat team, we saw them come in here last year and really do some good things.
Yeah, they're really good. Their guard play, as I said, John Elmore is a really good guard. Ryan Taylor's a kid, number 25, a little bigger than he was maybe when he was in college. Originally committed to Louisville. He ended up being a 4-year starter at Marshall. You will remember Elmore. Marshall went to the NCAA tournament, beat Wichita State. Heck of a run. Elmore, as I said, played for the Boston Celtics this summer, will be playing overseas in Italy.
Our starting lineups are presented by Air Force Reserve. Explore your opportunities with the Air Force Reserve. There's a look at those who will start for the West Virginia Wildcats: Terry Wynn, Stevie Browning, Ott Elmore, Ryan Taylor, and John Elmore. So the Elmore brothers represented. Big X, the starting lineups: Justin Sears, C.J. Jackson, Boo Boo Paulo, Maverick Morgan, and a late addition, Cameron Vines, playing for Big X.
Cameron Vines, very late addition when it was figured out that Jayshawn Tate maybe couldn't play. Jayshawn Tate got a chance to go to OKC's kind of summer mini camp. So he's going to wisely sit this one out and make sure he's in perfect health for that camp.
So here goes Big X getting the evening started. The third game of the day, the first of the evening games. Maverick Morgan working down on the block, fades away and misses.
Well, you heard Andrew say they wanted to go inside, but what you don't want is a fadeaway when you're bigger. Just go right up strong. I'm telling you, this West Virginia team will be one of the best passing teams. You see it there.
Pass at the rim, but it is deflected away by Big X, and the West Virginia Wildcats will keep the basketball, and we'll get a chance to watch the Elmore brothers operate with their father, Gay Elmore, coaching this team.
Hey, Gay Elmore, all he did was score about 2,400 points in his own.
Yeah.
Hey, they're the highest scoring father-son duo in the history of college basketball, beating Steph and Del Curry.
Yeah, and that's quite a combo to beat. Wynn misfires for the Wildcats, and Big X on the drive. Missed shots, C.J. Jackson, and a steal by Boo Boo Paulo. Maverick Morgan can't control it, and it's taken away by the West Virginia Wildcats. No score here in the first quarter. At Capital University, Ryan Taylor will get it in the corner where a long three is knocked down by Terry Wynn.
That's a pretty good look.
It was from deep in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You drive it, you kick it. That's big in this action. I mean, really big. You can see right now, Big X going high-low.
Down the lane, Sears lays it in.
Sears went to St. Joe's College. St. Joe's College is no longer a college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, St. Joe's in Rensselaer. 100 years ago, not 100 years ago, the Bears used to practice there. And there was always, there you go.
John Elmore.
There was always the rumor that in Rensselaer, Indiana is where the Chicago mob dug holes.
And what did they put in those holes?
You know what they put in those holes.
Vines from the wing. Misfires.
Well, maybe it was Vines. Vines is from St. Joe. Sears is from Yale.
Stevie Browning puts it in the bucket.
Jeez, I got the guys mixed up.
That's all right. 8-2. West Virginia Wildcats with a lead here in the first quarter. So Sears will start it at the head of the key. C.J. Jackson. Off it comes Boo Boo Paulo driving the baseline. Misses on the chippy, and the rebound comes off to Sears. Here's Browning being guarded closely, and Vines with some contact.
Well, you can see West Virginia is going to move the ball. I wouldn't say West Virginia is the most physically. You can see right there, reaching in with his lower body. You're going to see there's a foul, but you wouldn't think that West Virginia physically looks the part. But man, they pass it to each other, and this kid can play. And the Elmores and Browning really pass it and shoot.
Elmore misfires. That's now 3 for 5 shooting for the West Virginia Wildcats. Big X cold, 1 for 6. Vines kicks it off now where a 3 is put up from the head of the key. Goes off target from Bell. Amir Bell missing. 8-2 is the lead for the West Virginia Wildcats. Long 3 goes right down the bucket.
I'm telling you.
John Elmore.
2,500 points, 700 assists. Nobody's ever done it. 750 assists.
8-0 run for the West Virginia Wildcats. That's quite a stretch you just spit out there. Paulo on the drive. Defensive rebound.
It's an 8-0 run, and it'd probably be a 10-0 run here. But I don't mind the shots Big X is getting. I mean, they're getting basically anything they want. They're just not making it.
Miss from deep in the corner by Terry Wynn of the West Virginia Wildcats, who have an 11-2 lead.
You know when you're a little kid, and look at that, Ryan Taylor.
Off the floor for the block.
You know, you're a little kid and your coach tells you don't go swimming on the day of a baseball game when you were in Little League. You can't go swimming was always our coach because you take your legs. That's what Big X looks like to me. Doesn't have enough pop or movement.
Wynn from down low finds it. And it is 13-2 for the West Virginia Wildcats. We'll get a timeout, a 10-0 run West Virginia Wildcats a 13-2 lead over Big X.
Big X. Well, this is what John Elmore does. I mean, and this is why he's one of the most prolific guards. Look at that step back. Might have even been out of bounds. And what I liked about Elmore is he let the entire bench of the Big X know.
Yes, he did.
Floor can't hold me, Paul Keels.
Even if he's out of bounds, he still can.
Doesn't matter.
That's how you get open. Step out of bounds.
They need to move those benches back a little bit.
Don't they? 13-2. West Virginia Wildcats with a lead over Big X. Keyshawn Woods, former Ohio State Buckeye, handling it for Big X. Bell in the corner, throws and misses.
Getting wide open shots. It's just
wide
a matter
open.
of whether you're going to make.
Yeah. Well, West Virginia's Wildcats has made it to the tune of a 13-2 lead.
I like this team for Big X. Big X made some substitutions. Former Wolverine, Stu Douglas. Oh, that's bad.
Brian Taylor takes it right down and punches it in with a dunk.
That's just bad defense right there. Richie Gordon got to move his feet.
7 straight missed field goal attempts. Now that drought ends as C.J. Jackson throws it in the bucket for Big X and draws the foul.
The Dockage family owns C.J. Jackson a steak dinner.
Because of his 2 big shots he's hit in Bloomington, Indiana the last 2
one he
years.
hit 2 years ago. You're going to see C.J. Jackson. C.J. Jackson's a big shot maker. In Bloomington, the great Andrew Dockage turned it over at half court. Indiana took the lead, and C.J. Jackson at the buzzer drilled it.
He certainly did.
Oh, man. Then he did it again last year,
He did
basically.
it last year. He sure did.
Yeah.
15-5. West Virginia Wildcats. The lead in the basketball. Santino DiTrapano gets the ball down low. Browning. Entry pass taken away by Big X. Here's Jackson to the hoop. And it falls for C.J. Jackson. Now Big X has finally found the mark here.
This is a better team. You got 3 guys all can shoot out there. And you've got an inside guy that needs to be able to move his feet, Richie Gordon. And you got experience. Wow.
Ooh, thrown up and in by Orlando Parker.
Nice.
Very nice. Jackson down the lane, puts it in.
He's the freshest. He's a guy that's an all Big Ten type player, just out of college, should be ready to go, has got really fresh legs. You can see the difference in him right here.
And Stu Douglas with a collision.
Stu Douglas is saying they don't call that in Germany.
Nor in the Big Ten. Well, sometimes in the Big Ten. West Virginia Wildcats with a lead, 17-9 over Big X. TBT 2019, the winner-take-all chase for $2 million is presented by Puma Basketball. Tonight from Capital University and the Capital Center in Columbus, Ohio, it's Big X and West Virginia's Wildcats, the Elmore family. A very popular topic, aren't they, Jen Hale?
They certainly are, Paul. Amazing, really. They wrote their names in the history books. 5,021 points combined and counting. That passes Dell and Steph Curry. Talking with Gay Elmore pregame, he says, you know, it just doesn't get any better than that because obviously basketball is such a family affair for the Elmores. It's not just Gay and his sons. Gay's father played basketball too, and they credit him with establishing the family love and tradition of basketball. So truly something that he says is a family achievement and something they will all remember for the rest of their lives.
And having the chance to do it together here in the basketball tournament, where we get an offensive foul called against the West Virginia Wildcats.
You know what's cool about the Elmores? I don't know if this ever happens to you, but when you say nice things about people on TV, rarely does anybody say thank you. But when you say something nasty, you know, a mother, a brother, a cousin, an aunt, and an uncle, it's like, you know, John Elmore, I said some nice things. I don't even know if I did it. And he has thanked me 3 different times. I told him before the game, look, I haven't said that many nice things about you. I don't, you know, I've said some. Deserve all that. Oh, boy.
Maybe he was wanting something from you. Sears after the turnover.
Got to make the shot in this tournament. You got to make that shot right there.
Keyshawn Woods does.
You do. That's the way basketball is in this tournament. It's just like NCAA college basketball. You bring it down, you spread it, because there really isn't an inside presence for either team. So you got to bring it down, reverse it, keep it popping, and make it.
The Big X, after a cold start, they find themselves back in the basketball game. Miss from the corner by Orlando Parker.
Same thing here. Watch people run to the three-point line. This up.
Stu Douglas at the three-point line, cans it.
Stu Douglas, pro. Stu Douglas been playing professional basketball a long time. You talk to John Beeline, Stu Douglas and Zach Novak, two kids from Indiana. Novak from Chesterton, Douglas from Carmel, Indiana. Changed the fortunes of Michigan basketball because of their leadership, their toughness, and their all-day play.
A 13-2 run going for Big X currently. In and out for Stevie Browning, but a foul on the rebound try.
Well, that's a bad call. I could be wrong. It'll be the first time ever, but that's a bad call.
Excuse me? Sears the foul. I'm sorry. I thought I heard something.
They pulled him down. I mean, hey, how great was that Dayton crowd?
Fantastic, but not surprising.
No.
That is a great basketball tradition. DiTrapano on the drive, finds it.
DiTrapano measured it up. And DiTrapano, he's the kind of guy that's a really good layup shooter.
Keyshawn Woods loses a handle, but it's saved. And Stu Douglas, the benefactor from the save.
Stu Douglas can shoot it.
And he has, hitting 2 long ones here today.
He's a pro, man. I mean, look, you don't play overseas without being able to knock it out when you're 6'4" and athletic ability rebounding isn't your thing.
Miss from Elmore on long range, but it's saved by the West Virginia Wildcats. Quick one missed again, but kept alive for the West Virginia Wildcats. Another wild one misses by John Elmore, but he gets the loose change. Parker, corner shot, nails it.
Wow, good hustle by the Elmores. The Elmores kept digging it out, John, with a wild shot, but they just kept digging and digging. As I said, there really isn't an inside presence in this game. It's more about positioning and hustle.
Well, Big X had gotten within 1 of West Virginia's lead, but it's now 22-18 Wildcats, and we get a foul called as Keyshawn Woods is attempting to put it up, and Santino DiTrapano is guilty of the hack. How about Keyshawn Wood? Played some of his best basketball for Ohio State last year at the end of the year.
Yeah, 5th-year transfer. Wake Forest to Ohio State somewhere before Wake Forest. Charlotte. And he, I thought, did exactly what you said.
And there he is, going for it in the corner. No good off the flange. Rebound underneath for Big X. Boo Paolo finds it.
That's modern basketball. Get an offensive rebound, slide to the ball side corner, find the next.
1 point lead for the West Virginia Wildcats. A little more than a half minute to play, first quarter. Long miss Parker, long rebound Douglas. With half minute to go in the first quarter. Douglas for Big X, a pass underneath. And it goes out of bounds, trying desperately for Big X to save it. Was Cameron Vines, but unsuccessful. Maverick Morgan will come in for Big X, formerly of Illinois. And also a young man from right here in the state of Ohio, from Springboro, Ohio.
Coached Mav in AAU. John Gross recruited him, former head coach at Illinois, Ohio State assistant. He had a nice chat you and I did with John before the game.
Down to the final 10 seconds of the first quarter.
I think Boo Powell right there in the right elbow is not going to let John Elmore touch the ball.
It seems to be that way. Ryan Taylor touching it down the lane. Taken away. Vines from the half court. Throws. Can't find it. 22-21 is the West Virginia Wildcats lead. Stu Douglas for Big X, however, is the one that has made it a close game.
This is pro, people. When you're a pro and you're shooting guard as a pro, you can do this in your sleep.
Our next WNBA game is Tuesday with Asia Wilson and the Western Conference leading Las Vegas Aces hosting the Seattle Storm. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. You know who coaches the Las Vegas Aces?
Tell me.
Bill Laimbeer.
Oh, yeah. he I think he got 2 T's in the game against Indiana here last week.
Why is that not surprising?
I know, right?
Well, Big X has rallied to make this a game. They trail the West Virginia Wildcats 22-21. They started 1 for 10, ended the first quarter 7 for 10.
Well, the key is going to be to make the guys from West Virginia run up and down like that. Right? That's good play by Vines. Vines got in the pass lane. Browning doesn't make mistakes very often. Browning and Elmore really two good players, but Vines got in the passing lane right here, and this is an unfortunate foul for Browning. Simply momentum carried him in, but you know what? When you hustle in basketball like Vines did right there, you put yourself in a good spot, you put yourself in a position to get fouled.
Well, Big X, who trailed 15-2 with just under 5 minutes left in the first quarter, find themselves with the basketball and down a point. Keyshawn Woods loses a handle and it's taken away. Wynn down the right side. Can't get it to fall with some contact.
Yeah, was that good defense? Vines again, he just went straight up.
And we get Woods called for an offensive foul. Keyshawn Woods for Big X.
That's the problem with dribbling. Like first practice you should always have with your team is no dribble. See how you get going too far and then you say, all right, everybody has to stop dribbling at the free throw line. But when you over dribble, bad things happen.
Good things happening there for John Elmore.
He's so good.
8 points good today.
Can't let him in the middle of the floor. He'll kill you.
Maverick Morgan from low gets it to fall. Maverick Morgan.
That should be all day. Spread it and throw it high-low. Put Andrew on the mic here. I'll tell him.
Like he's going to listen.
Never has.
Ryan Taylor giggles in and out. Big X down 1. But with the ball.
Just give it up, reverse it, and you'll get a 3 on the other side. Someone will.
There's a fadeaway from the right wing.
If Andrew's his father's son, he'll take that guy out for a bad shot.
How about that pass? No good in the corner for Stevie Browning. Big X the ball, but down a point. Here in the second quarter from the Capitol Center at Capital University in Columbus, Ohio, but we get an offensive foul call.
I was watching that. I'm not sure that was a great call. That was a function of Maverick Morgan being bigger than John Elmore. And John Elmore getting the call. C.J. Jackson and Vines out. Don't need a bad shot. Neither team. Just don't take a bad shot. You'll get a shot. I mean, it's not like they run defensive drills in this thing.
What's a good shot? One you make?
Elmore. Anything he wants to do.
Keyshawn Woods with the pilfer for Big X.
This is a good shot. Ball reversed, get a guy open.
And C.J. Jackson cans it.
Reverse the ball works at every level.
First lead of the game for Big X on the 3 by C.J. Jackson. Ryan Taylor answers for the West Virginia Wildcats. Boo Palo in a hurry. Lays the finger roll down.
I'm saying, you know, just keep it ball moving on all. That's it. There'll be a good shot here.
Goes in and out for Browning.
Referees are getting tired. This is up and down. Reverse the ball.
Woods scores.
He started on the left, went to the right. At this level, defense doesn't want to play both sides.
Big X with a lead. And the ball back after the miss. A little more than 6 to play in the second. Hugo Palo has it poked away and a foul committed. As Justin Sears tried to follow it up from the right side of the eye.
Pretty good. You can tell sitting. The referees are a little tired, and West Virginia is a little tired. West Virginia a little thicker than what is the Big X, and so you just drive the basketball.
Well, as Justin Sears goes to the line, let's listen to Coach Andrew Dockich.
Go ahead. You good? Hey, tell me when you're ready. Attaboy, you good? How you feel?
It's the most interesting.
Stu! Get mismatched with him. Set ball screens if he's guarding you.
Andrew Dockich is the kind of guy when he
Keyshawn,
would take him to a game.
watch his back cut.
Let's say a team's down 10-0 in baseball in the 9th. Come on, Andrew, let's leave. No, they can come back. They can come back.
Ryan Taylor misses on the drive. Keyshawn Woods for Big X, who finds himself
over here
up.
left.
Woods down the paint. He'll get a free throw opportunity. Keyshawn Woods.
Now the reason, Paul, I said you got it here left, because the first guy, which was C.J. Jackson, ran to the corner. Great corner shooter. You saw it for 3 years. second guy, Stu Douglas, ran to the same side wing. You have an overload there. So one of the two in transition is going to get a great look.
So Woods at the line. Cans the first free throw. Keyshawn Woods with a winning share that will be sent to Zell. $150,000. Two of them from the free throw line.
Joey Lane checks in.
Oh, of course he does.
At Joey Smoke 14. Hey, Dan Dawkins, tell your son, tell the guys to give the ball to the Buckeyes and get out of the way. We'll be reading tweets all game.
And most of them from Joey Lane. Ott Elmore. Can't find it. Ball slapped around, but C.J. Jackson with it for Big X.
Nice pass.
Sears has trouble within the corner, but gets it saved.
Let's reverse it. You get a look.
Douglas snaps it off. Douglas rebounds it. Douglas misses it. Browning will control it for Big X. For the West Virginia Wildcats. Ott Elmore. Can't find it. And here's Bell. Jackson slips inside. Douglas.
Telling you, Wynn came out of nowhere. I didn't see Wynn. I thought Douglas had a wide open look. And Wynn hustled, man. He came out of nowhere. This should be a bucket.
Ryan Taylor. Charge on Ryan Taylor. His second foul.
Well, that was good defense, but I'm not so sure that wasn't a flop. Ryan Taylor has been taking the ball at the bucket under bad luck. And right here you see Sears, who was a player of the year in the Ivy League from Yale. Smart enough to take a charge and smart enough to know where the camera is.
Now, as a former coach, you love guys that take those charges, don't you?
You know, you love him that he's smart enough to understand what Ryan Taylor's going to do.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he's not going to shoot it. He's going to drive it. So get ready, move your feet, take a charge.
The Big X, who had been in a big hole to start the game, found themselves with the ball in a 33-26 lead over the West Virginia Wildcats here in the second quarter. Keyshawn Woods reins it in.
Pretty good offense. Two shooters on the right side. C.J. Jackson took the ball over there with a postman and Maverick Morgan trying to bury John Elmore.
Woods nearing double figures. The Big X has a 10-point lead. Stevie Browning for the West Virginia Wildcats on the drive. Under to Klein, who has it blocked by Morgan. So we've seen some offense and some defense for Big X. Now we'll see an offensive foul called against Big X.
That was a great play by Elmore. He was standing there as Big X came down in transition. Watch it. He just standing there, got in front of Maverick Morgan and took the charge.
Well, one we thought earlier on Morgan that was a foul was a turnover. This is just his first personal foul. So the West Virginia Wildcats get the ball, but it is a 36-26 lead for Big X. Tournament. You'll see some of the most original uniforms in sports. Be sure to check them out over at tbtgear.com and treat yourself to some official TBT apparel. Welcome back to the basketball tournament here at Capital
Tell them
Center
keep the
Capital
good guys
University.
in.
36-26. Big X with a lead over the West Virginia Wildcats in the second quarter. What was your message?
Well, one guy, you know, our stats guy came over and said, "You want me to give your son a message?" I said, "Yeah, keep the good players in."
Isn't that what's ideally supposed to be done?
Yeah. Don't let the guys that are killing you get in. Like
Stevie Browning right off a screen can.
He's really good. Played his first 2 years at Fairmont State, and then he transferred. Averaged 13, 4.5, and 3.5 for Marshall. Really, really good. He and Elmore.
And he and Stu Douglas going for a loose ball. We'll get a jump ball signal. Possession arrow will keep the ball in the hands of Big X. And Santino Di Trapano will come back in.
I think this is a good lineup for West Virginia. Adam Klein's a good player, but this is more of a small man's game, and they already have a big guy out there in Porter that can kind of guard the Parker, that can guard the post, guard Maverick Morgan, but getting DiStefano in there, DiStefano is a good move, and he's got a cool name.
You like that, huh? From the College of Charleston. Of course, a lot of these guys in the West Virginia Wildcats have known one another since grade school. C.J. Jackson for Big X. Feeds Morgan underneath in a jam. Here's Douglas from close in. couple of volleys, and that goes in. Amir Bell's going to get credit for that one.
Man, Amir Bell got up over everyone, but I thought the play was made. Uh-oh.
Stevie Browning up over everyone.
Yeah, man, Stevie Browning doesn't mess around. He played in Hungary, Turkey. I mean, this is a pro.
Amir Bell with a pro move, his second bucket of the game.
That's 2 in a row for Amir Bell. Andrew was excited to pick up Amir Bell. He's just one of those, he's like, he's smaller, don't get me wrong, and he's not, but Trevor Ariza. This makes everybody better.
DiTrapano with an offensive rebound off the Browning miss. Santino DiTrapano. Browning never shy. Shot clock down to 10. Parker. No good off the flange. 40-32 Big X. And Bell can't handle the pass from C.J. Jackson as Big X turns it over.
Talking about Amir Bell. Amir Bell was a defensive player of the year in the Ivy League. He won the tournament in 07. He didn't average a whole lot, but doesn't have to, man. He's a 3-year star. He's one of those guys that just helps you win. Ryan Taylor's that kind of way. Ryan Taylor was that way in high school. And he's that way in college, and he's that way playing with West Virginia.
C.J. Jackson after the turnover. Lobs underneath for Bell, and he throws it right away. Elmore throws it away. So turnovers, we've seen 9 now for West Virginia, 8 for Big X.
Now, if you're West Virginia, you just got to slow it down. You're going to get a good shot, and you got a bunch of guys that can shoot it, and you just need it spread because your 5-man, Porter, can shoot the basketball. So keep it spread. Parker, I said it both times.
Knew who you meant.
Yeah. There's no reason to rush either team. Both teams are going to get great looks.
Offensive rebound underneath. Putback missed, but Justin Sears, who got the rebound, drew the foul.
Yeah, look, Justin Sears is the same kind of guy. This was originally going to be Big X, a Big Ten team, but you know what happened? A bunch of guys had to drop out, so they kind of joined with an Ivy League team, and Justin Sears, 2-time Ivy League Player of the Year, talking about a guy that played for the British national team, played in Germany. This is a dude, again, a pro who's used to playing basketball and not a big scorer, but a big winner.
Saturday, we'll have our next UFC Fight Night main card, highlighted by Rafael Dos Anjos and Leon Edwards in the main event. Both fighters look to continue their path toward title contention. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app, with prelims beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
Who you got now?
I don't know. Still pondering. Still pondering. DiTrapano. Now Parker down low. Wheels in the paint and gets it to fall. Orlando Parker.
Like his game. Was that win? That might have been win.
Okay, excuse me.
That might have been win, but I like Parker too. Parker's gone on the perimeter. But as I said, both teams, if you just take your time, don't turn it over, you're going to get what you want.
Sears misses.
Sears
Rebound Browning. Yeah, there's a little contact. There's a little contact. There's a miss. And a rebound ripped down by Big X, who finds himself leading. Keyshawn Woods. Bubo Palo in a hurry to the lane. Underneath, Sears scores in traffic.
Sears just smart. Bubo Palo made a nice play too. Instead of forcing up a bad shot, he stayed underneath the defense. And
John Elmore, Wynn, is called for his second personal foul. What was a great start for West Virginia?
Oh, on the screen, yeah.
Yeah. Little hip check into the boards.
You really have to stay very solid. That was the point of emphasis, really, in every league, high school, college, NBA. You got to stay on a ball screen. You have to stay within your own shoulders and within your own feet. You cannot spread out or it's an automatic foul.
But the defense for Big X has improved to the point where they've clawed their way into having this advantage, 44-34.
I'm not going to lie to you. Big X, Andrew Dawkins done a really good job. I know he's my son and all that, but they made some adjustments here defensively. Got more active on the ball, picked up a little bit full court, got some different players in there and spread it a little bit. That's what coach is supposed to be.
Sears hits it from the head of the key.
What don't you like about him? Defender, score inside, step out, shoot a three.
Justin Sears with 10 points in the game, helping Big X get this lead at 47-34. John Elmore steps back, throws, finds it.
Oh, that's Jimmy Burnett.
Isn't that the truth?
Man, he was guarded hard. That's a great shot by a great player. I love watching John Elmore play.
He scored 11 here in the first half. That's almost over. It's a 10-point lead for Big X. Jackson can't find it. And the half comes to an end with Big X holding this lead of 47-37 over the West Virginia Wildcats. The basketball tournament here at Capital University in the Capital Center. Big X was cold start, but they found their range and they expanded their lead once they got in. Their defense really clamped down on the West Virginia Wildcats as well. Here's Jen Hale.
Thanks, guys. Here with Andrew Dockich. Andrew, the good news is not only is your dad saying great things about you, but you were able to regain this lead after a slow start. How did you manage that?
Guys just settled in. I think that was the biggest key. You know, everyone had a little jitters coming out. As expected, it's an unbelievable atmosphere. And once guys settled in, they started playing the right way. And then that's how we got this 10-point lead at half.
It also looked like you made some defensive adjustments. What was your goal? What was your vision with that?
It was all them. We did not really emphasize. I wish I could take credit for it, but that was all them. They executed. They were talking. C.J. Jackson did an unbelievable job out there on defense, just kind of communicating. Really the anchor for us. So I'm pleased with what we did in the first half.
Thanks, Andrew. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Very nice coaching debut for one Andrew Dockich as Big X has the lead over the West Virginia Wildcats, 47-37. 47-37, Big X with a lead over the West Virginia Wildcats here at the basketball tournament at the Capital Center at Capital University in the Bexley community of Columbus, Ohio. Thanks for joining us. Paul Keels, America's most agreeable talk show host, Dan Dockich, and certainly Big X got the right guy shooting the ball at the right time.
Well,
Dan.
yeah, I mean, they started out 1 for 10 overall. Then all of a sudden, here comes Stu Douglas. Here comes Keyshawn Woods. Next thing you know, they're 5 of 8 from the three-point line. I thought Stu Douglas was really good on both ends. He's a kid that played at Michigan, has been playing overseas for the last 7 years. And Keyshawn Woods, guess what? He and C.J. Jackson, they just got done starting in the backcourt for Ohio State. Keyshawn Woods can do that, and he can do that in his sleep. He'll be doing that when he's 50 years old, Keyshawn Woods will be. And then they got a bonus from Justin Sears, who is a really, really good all-around basketball player.
Jen Hale checking in with the coach of the West Virginia Wildcats, Gay Elmore.
Thanks, Paul. Coach, you started this game out so hot, but you saw your lead erode there at the end. What happened?
Well, we don't have a very big team, and we base most of ours on shooting and shooting the three a lot, and we missed a lot of shots as the half wore on. I have to give them credit. Maybe they were playing good defense, but we have good shooters, and if we're not knocking down shots, we're not going to be here long.
Well, best of luck in this next half. We're excited to watch.
Okay, thank you.
Guys.
Dan, you mentioned Gay Elmore, his great career at VMI.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy that scored 2,400 points, and his sons did the same thing. I mean, it's really incredible. It's a basketball family. It's a basketball crazy family. And you know what? They play smart, hard, tough. And as Coach just said, man, they can shoot it.
Well, Big X gets the turnover and the feed to Maverick Morgan, who gets hacked in the lane.
See, this is the perfect time for Big X to go inside. You look out there, and really there isn't any size. Ryan Taylor, 25 for West Virginia, is thick, but he's not tall. Wynn is not tall. And Maverick Morgan, if he just gets it and goes up, should be able to be all right in this.
Browning with a foul, his second. Nice one-hand turnaround, missed by Sears. So the West Virginia Wildcats, who had the early lead in the game, operate from a deficit. John Elmore trying to change that, and he does with a bucket.
And John Elmore just sprinted off of a high screen. I mean, he went so fast, he got his shoulders forward. Next thing you know, easy bucket.
Vines to Sears, who throws it and misses it.
Yeah, they're going to make Sears shoot that. You can see what they're doing. They're clogging it up. Andrew Dockich may need to get somebody else in there to shoot the ball.
Ball being moved around by the West Virginia Wildcats to Steve Browning, who nails it.
How about that? Elmore to Elmore, behind the back to their buddy Browning. And as coach said, man, when they're making shots, they're really good. When they're not, they will not be here long.
Good at the tune of a 6-0 run. Boo-Boo Paolo can't hit it. Tip no good. Ball tipped around, and it'll be saved down to the other end by Big X.
Oh, this is really good. Elmore to Browning. Whap. You let Browning click his heels, it's over. You let Elmore click his heels, it's over. They're not missing.
Amir Bell starts it for Big X, loses it. John Elmore comes up with it. 47-37, Big X with a lead. They were up by double digits at one point. John Elmore down the lane, floats it and scores it.
You're seeing it right now.
Yes.
2,500 points, 750 assists. Only player in NCAA basketball to do that, and he's rolling. You got a problem. That's charge.
16 for him here this evening. Stu Douglas scoops it up. Can't find it. Window cleaned by Ryan Taylor for the West Virginia Wildcats, who are down by a deuce. 47-45.
Think about this, Paul. 8 points to start the half, 3 to end the half. You're at 11-0 run.
Look at a foul on Elmore.
Smart.
Hot Elmore. Yeah, stop the breakaway.
Yeah, because the same thing in the first half. You got fresh legs out of West Virginia, and they can shoot it in. I mean, you don't want fresh legs. You want them to wear down a little bit, and how do you wear them down? By running the floor, getting down, and you see Elmore right there with the foul. Perfect move. I would imagine you'll see some zone also by.
Oh, really?
I would think.
Sears against the man-to-man. Nice turn and score.
It doesn't look great. One hand, a little awkward, but I'm telling you, that kid, you want Justin Sears on your team. I don't care what league it is.
He's given Big X 13, but a foul committed right after his bucket.
You put Jason Tate on this Team X, Big X.
Oh,
this is a heck of a team.
Yes, it would
Duncan
be.
Robinson, who ends up, he was going to be a player on this team, but he's on the Heat's roster. You put those two on, they might win this thing, but they're not on, so you got to figure you got to win this game.
West Virginia Wildcats get a score from down low. Ryan Taylor doing some work under the glass.
I like Ryan Taylor, man. Ryan Taylor is willing to go give you a lot, and then he gives you a block there. He's willing to give you everything you want inside.
Sears down low against Taylor scores.
How good is Sears?
Very.
Thank you.
15.
3-time All-Ivy League. 2-time Ivy League Player of the Year, and there's our guy, Ryan Taylor.
Just drilling it from outside, Ryan Taylor.
Ryan Taylor played for a great basketball coach in high school named Jack Kiefer. He played at the same high school as Conley and Oden from Ohio State.
Lawrence North.
Yep.
C.J. Jackson giving it to him. 13 for the former Ohio State Buckeye. John Elmore trying to answer.
You got a problem if you're Big X. Because Elmore's hot.
Yes.
Elmore can go get 50 in this.
Yeah, he's got 19. 1 point game. Big X the lead in the ball. Bell. Can't find it.
Yeah, I don't think.
And then he commits a foul.
The two guys that have to shoot the ball on the court are Jackson and Douglas. Everything else has to be inside right now. And watch Taylor with a little pick and pop right here. That's deep. And the next one's just, this is how good John Elmore is. A little spin, back, step back, jack.
So it's a 1 point lead for Big X, 54-53 over the West Virginia Wildcats. Ryan Taylor hit the last one, had a notion, follows through and connects.
You know, he used Maverick Morgan's hand like a sight of a gun. You know, he had his hand out there, but it was just really just aiming him up.
Maverick Morgan from the short corner misses. And here go the Wildcats on a run, having reclaimed the lead, but a foul called against Big X. I believe they're going to call that foul on Amir Bell, his second.
Not a bad foul, though. Watch Taylor. Watch this. This is just like the defense here by Maverick doesn't mean anything. See that hand right there? That hand is just organizing the path to the basket. That's all that does. You got to get out, make him drive it. Don't let Taylor shoot it. You want to wear Taylor out a little bit.
2 point lead for the West Virginia Wildcats, and it stays at 2 after the miss. Big X has Vines in a hurry to the hole. And a miss for Cameron Vines. Stevie Browning rifles it up for John Elmore. West Virginia Wildcats have Elmore gunning it deep. Keyshawn Woods grabs the carom for Big X.
Smart by Keyshawn Woods right there. He was going to throw it up. Didn't. You want, if you're Big X, you better get back.
Because Stevie Browning's got a chance and he connects on it.
You want the game to continue if you're Big X. All right, you're down 4, but you want it to continue. If you're West Virginia, you want to keep doing that, get some easy buckets.
Keyshawn Woods trying for a hard bucket. Ball poked away, but Vines saves it. Poked away again, Vines again. Recollects it for Big X. Jackson underneath, and there's Stu Douglas with a chippy.
That's what I'm talking about. You can see all of a sudden you're going to get a timeout by West Virginia. Elmore wants out. Both Elmores actually want out. That's what you want to do. Hey, you're down, but that's all right. You just want to keep it going down the court. You just want to up and down, wear them out.
This part of the West Virginia Wildcats 24-7 run to reclaim the lead.
Is taking over Chicago for championship week. 8 teams.
What's up, man?
Single
Good to see you, kid.
elimination. $2 million. Winner take all. August 1st through the 6th at Wintrust Arena. Visit thetournament.com/tickets to secure your seats today.
And here's a look at how Big X will share their $2 million sent with Zelle.
I like it. I like if Andrew Dockage could get $120,000, get him off the payroll. That'd be good.
We'll go in the huddle with Andrew Dockage and Big X here.
Playing, keep pushing, keep finding each other. We're getting great looks, fellas. We're missing them, and we're letting up way too many threes down there. Like, hey, this is where we take it personally. This is where we take it. They won the first 4 minutes. This is where we take it personally. This is where we go, all right? Everyone else good? Tell me when you're tired, all right? Fellas, we can't give up threes. Bigs, we can't. We got to step up on everything, all right? Let's go. Stu, tell me when you're tired.
In the huddle, presented by Puma Basketball, Andrew Dockage.
Yeah, he's got a torn ACL, so he can't. He's like, Dad, I can't kneel down. I go, get yourself a Phil Jackson chair. You know them big throne type things.
Yeah. You know what? After he had that surgery, of course, Andrew, who was working as a student assistant with the Ohio State team, he was out there doing all of his other stuff right afterwards.
Yeah.
You'd have never known it.
Yeah, it's crazy what they do now. It really is. He had ACL surgery, played in his first Fat Guys League, and tore his ACL. And he said, Dad, they got me rehabbing the next day. That's exactly what they did.
Ryan Taylor has to get away from him in the corner. So the Wildcats turn it over. Big X with the basketball. This third quarter, West Virginia's Wildcats 80% shooting. Big X 31%.
Well, Andrew said it. They're giving up way too many threes. And, this lineup right here, I believe, let's see, yeah, Keyshawn Woods is in. It's probably the best lineup because they're the most active defensively, because I'm telling you, if you let the Elmores or you let DiStefano handle the ball comfortably, they are buckets.
Down low, thrown up and missed by Amir Bell. Stevie Browning comes away with it for the West Virginia Wildcats, who lead by 2. Parker has it poked away.
Was that slick?
Yes.
Browning's fun. Browning's really fun. This is a little no-look flip pass. Not a lot of guys can do this on time, and he just stuck it in there. And pretty good strip by Keyshawn Woods.
Got him right in stride. Now we'll get a little deliberation over at the other side of the floor at the scorer's table. Second straight year that Capital University has hosted this regional here in Columbus. An outstanding job by the folks at Capital.
Damon Goodwin, the head coach.
Oh, yes.
What happened?
Coaching the Red Scare, the Dayton alumni team.
How good were they?
Very.
Dayton played there in the glory years when they had Larry Schellenberg. They had, remember Roosevelt Chapman was there getting it done. They went to the Sweet 16. Don Donaher was leading. It's Don Donaher Practice Center. Dayton's unbelievable. I love Dayton.
Great tradition. Keyshawn Woods for Big X. Runs into a traffic jam and draws a foul against the West Virginia Wildcats.
That's a pretty slick move. You had C.J. Jackson on the left. They were screening in, trying to draw help. Keyshawn Woods for a three. It brought out Klein, and Keyshawn Woods did not. You see kind of a screen there. And it brought out the defender, and the defender, Parker, couldn't keep Woods in front of him. Pretty smart by Woods driving it.
You know, you mentioned the great Dayton tradition during that game earlier this afternoon, sitting down the other end of the table. One of the greatest ever to play at Dayton, and one of the funniest human beings ever to walk the planet. Arlen Bucky Bockhorn.
Really?
Oh, stories that we can't share.
Those are the best.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, we'll go to Urban Meyer's Pint House here.
Okay.
After.
Keyshawn Woods with a couple of free throws for Big X to even the game. Stevie Browning for the West Virginia Wildcats. Misfires.
You're smart, you'll reverse it, get a great look.
Jackson at the line, in the lane, to the bucket.
And that's what you want. You want, again, this game to keep going. They did not slow it down. They did not back it out. They just kept and put the pressure on from the middle of the floor, and there you got a bucket.
Jackson gives Big X the lead of a couple. Parker falls down. Finds Klein underneath, but taken away by Douglas. Behind the back, Woods pilfered by the Wildcats.
Sometimes even pros make dumb plays.
Every now and then. Every now and then. West Virginia Wildcats down a couple to Big X. John Elmore. Can't find it. Jackson finds the rebound for Big X. Vines down low, bumped and scores and one.
Boy, was that a great run by Vines and a fantastic find. And Vines, sprinting, gathered himself so that he could keep contact, play through contact. What a pass right here. I'm telling you, man. Every team that has Amir Bell, who made the pass, has a chance to win. I mean, he just knows how to play. And Vines, with his best jump, keeps his chin on the rim. Ends up with a three-point play. Big possession here for West Virginia. You better guard Browning.
A 9-0 run for Big X. Browning with 3 fouls after that hack. DiTrapano on the drive. And Woods comes away with the ball after DiTrapano's offering was bothered. 63-58 Big X. Less than a minute and a half to play in the third. Woods misses off the bounce. Bell misses on the follow.
He didn't need that shot, and Bell got kind of off balance here.
Taylor, runaway train, banks it in on the drive.
Taylor, he got that old man strength.
He's got 14 points thanks to it.
He's a good player. He knows how to play. As I said,
Amir Bell gets hacked on the drive to the hole.
Originally committed to Louisville, and that didn't really work out. He and Stu Douglas are laughing there. They were high school rivals. They played one at Carmel, Indiana, and one at Lawrence North, Indiana. And they're two of the biggest schools, best basketball schools in the state. It's a good player right there. You want him on your team, Ryan Taylor.
Our next WNBA game is Tuesday with Asia Wilson and the Western Conference leading Las Vegas Aces hosting the Seattle Storm. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN2 and the ESPN app.
Professional sports, I would argue that the Seattle Storm's logo is as cool as any.
Would you know?
I would. I was looking at those. Vegas, a little bit dull, odd for Vegas.
64-60 Big X. The lead. West Virginia's Wildcats with the basketball. As the third quarter comes winding down. Whirling and dealing. John Elmore can't get it to fall. But there's Taylor with a follow, and a tip will go down as Parker is right there at the rim to cash it in.
Ryan Taylor, being big and strong underneath, just brought everybody together, and Parker came out of nowhere. No one thought to block him out, and he just went and got above everybody.
7 points, Orlando Parker. And Big X now with a 64-62 lead. Third quarter winding down here at the Capitol Center.
Feels like a big possession here. If you're Big X, you want to go in.
Shot clock winding down for Jackson. Foul.
Got it.
Ryan Taylor with a hack, his third.
Ryan Taylor has been the key here. You know, Elmore's hit some shots, but Ryan Taylor going to the rim, being strong around the basket. Tremendous. It's a good substitution right here by Andrew Dockage, getting Stu Douglas out. Going to get about 3 minutes of rest here. Stu Douglas a key, too, because he spreads the offense and shoots them in when he gets a chance, and has played really good defense on Elmore.
17 points for C.J. Jackson. Final seconds of the third quarter, and we get a whistle to stop play and a foul call. Jackson called for the foul. He is first, so with just seconds remaining.
Good foul.
It was. 66-62 Big X.
Let me ask you a question. You watch college basketball. You are the voice of the Buckeyes. Paul Keel's with me.
Yes.
Do you like, if you call timeout in the last minute of a game, getting the ball to half court like they do in the NBA? Do you like that at all? Oh, got a steal.
Vines with a steal. And foul going right for the throwdown as the horn will sound, and Cameron Vines is going to get a free throw as the foul's called on Stevie Browning, his fourth.
That's big. That's really big. Vines did this in the first half, got a foul, just got in the passing lane, anticipated it, and there you go. That's clearly a foul before the buzzer. You're going to check, maybe see if it's intentional, shot to the head.
No, do not like advancing the ball on the time.
Don't you?
No.
I go back and forth.
Do you?
Yeah, I kind of do. I'm kind of like, I like it. It creates more drama, and then I think about it, and I'm like, you know what? It's not part of basketball. You know, it's not. It's an artificial rule. You know what I mean?
It's rewarding you for something that, I don't know. Maybe because you've saved your timeout, maybe, I don't know. But no, don't like it.
Yeah.
Not a very strong defense.
I don't have a very strong offense for it.
So Cameron Vines at the line with 0.2 of a second to play. Vines a late addition for Big X with Jayshawn Tate not playing. Hits the free throw for his fourth point. And the third quarter will come to an end. And it is 67-62. Big X with the lead over the West Virginia Wildcats here at the basketball tournament in Columbus.
Speeds to more homes than anyone.
TBT 2019, the winner-take-all chase for $2 million is presented by Puma Basketball. Saturday, the 7th Annual International Champions Cup continues with Manchester United and Inter at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2, followed by Benfica taking on Chivas at 4 Eastern on ESPN. Then it's Bayern Munich battling Real Madrid at 8 on ESPN2. All three matches are also streaming live on the ESPN app, and for all your soccer needs, check out ESPN FC every day on ESPN Plus. There's the aforementioned Jayshawn Tate.
Got Jayshawn Tate. There's Jeff Bowles.
Jeff Bowles, the coach at Ohio University.
His alma mater. There's Caleb Wesson.
Trevor Thompson.
Kata Bates Diop.
A collection of former Ohio State Buckeyes.
Some points right there.
Yes. Some serious points. Chris Kata Bates Diop, the player of the year in the Big Ten, his junior and final season.
Man, was he good.
Very.
Oof.
And if you remember the season that he lost due to injury, there was a lot of talk about how good he could have been that year.
And how good the team could have been that year with him. Jayshawn Tate, I think, in this league is maybe the best player on every court every time, the way he can get to the rim. Thought he was going to play, didn't.
Elmore with a misfire.
The reason he didn't play is because he's going to OKC's kind of mini camp.
Vines misses on a drive.
Got to make that.
67-62. Big X the lead. And the steal. Boo Paolo gets it back and gets fouled. Ryan Taylor, his fourth.
Ryan Taylor has an argument. He went one way and defended it, and then he came back and jumped straight out. The problem you have if you're Ryan Taylor here is that the referee's going to see you move. Watch this. Taylor plays this great. He comes from one side. Problem was he went from his right back to his left, and the referee couldn't get that he established going straight up.
Tonight after the LA Derby at SportsCenter from Los Angeles with Linda and Stan, they'll look at Brooks Koepka's chances of winning his fifth major, plus an exclusive interview with Saquon Barkley and a full breakdown from LAFC and LA Galaxy. SportsCenter after soccer on ESPN and the ESPN app. 68-62, Big X the lead.
Just going up.
It does from Stevie Browning for the West Virginia Wildcats, and he misses.
You could see it was coming the minute he started patting it.
Jackson throws it long.
You just don't need to do that if you're Big X. You need to do that if you're West Virginia, but you don't need to do that if you're Big X. You need to reverse it, drive it.
John Elmore going to work to the foul line. Beats Taylor, but a charge on Elmore.
Man, was Paulo good there. Holy cow, he guarded Elmore. And one of the things Andrew Dockich has gotten their team to do is make switches. And they have switched everything on top with Elmore. Sears got him, Paulo had him, and then Paulo kept playing and got in for a charge. This is as good a play by Paulo as you will ever see. He started on the ball, ended up taking a charge.
So that gives the ball back to Big X with that lead you see at the bottom of your screen, 68-62. Fourth quarter.
If you're West Virginia, you gotta get a stop here, and you gotta get somebody other than Jackson shooting the basketball.
Jackson misses.
Well, he had a look, but it shouldn't be off of no passes. It should be off a ton of passes.
Browning to the hoop. Well, could have been goaltending.
No, not in the international. That's the way you're supposed to play it, Paul.
All right. Woods.
Short.
Well, West Virginia playing minus one of their usual participants in this tournament, as we'll hear from Jen Hale. Jen.
Indeed, Paul. Right now, this West Virginia team sorely missing Perrier Henry. He was a staple they really thought was going to boost them, especially offensively. He is your 2019 regular season MVP for the Euro Cup. He also played high school ball with both the Elmore Suns, so there's an instant chemistry and instant understanding on the court. We all know this story, guys. His flight is delayed. He is stuck in San Antonio. Coach Gay Elmore told me they've been holding out hope he'd walk through the door at any moment. If he would, they'd put him in. But if they can make it through tonight, they do hope and have their fingers crossed he'll be here for tomorrow. They sure do miss him.
Woods can't find it. Offensive rebound. Sears finds it.
You know, Henry is $1 million player overseas, just signed for $1 million. And while a lot of these guys don't want to play, he doesn't care. He just want. He did. He, like Andrew was telling me, he goes, Dad, this guy, he signed for $1 million. He played in the Euro Cup, which is as good a league as there is, and he does not care. He just wants to play ball in this tournament with his friends. How cool is that?
C.J. Jackson gets grabbed and fouled by Elmore, his third.
Perrier Henry would have made a massive difference in this game. You know, we're talking about Jayshawn Tate not playing for Big X. Tell you what, Perrier Henry, difference maker.
We had a chance to watch him play in this building last year for this West Virginia Wildcat team.
And that's what's cool about this. You get a bunch of guys that love ball. They came up together. You know, Henry went to Charlotte, or just terrific. I mean, just that's the great. There's a lot of great things about this tournament, but that's one of them as well.
Just continuing to play basketball. Boo Boo Paulo can't find it. And John Elmore will lead the break for the Wildcats. They're trying to rally from behind.
This going up.
I would have agreed with you.
It's going in.
And it goes in with a dunk from Ryan Taylor.
He knows how to play. Like, he knows how to play. He gave it up, didn't stand, defense stood, he moved, got himself in position, dunked on the whole building.
Well, as that ball goes down for Keyshawn Woods.
Now, he's not going to get up and guard you, but he'll rebound it, and if they throw it to him here on the block, he's going to get another bucket or force a double. There's a cut.
Browning left hands it up. Oh, good.
That's just bad luck.
And we're getting close to the Elam ending coming into effect.
See, if I'm Big X, I'm not slowing this down. I want to keep it going because you can see right now, yeah. Right now, West Virginia is straight up.
Jackson alone in the corner, snaps it off and scores.
Yeah, nobody was running out there because West Virginia is tired. West Virginia needs either a timeout or go to the basket and get fouled so they can regroup here a little bit.
20 for C.J. Jackson for Big X and their 75-66 lead. Under 5 to play. First dead ball after 4 to play in the fourth. The Elam ending will establish a target score.
Man, do they whip it around?
They sure do. Browning whips it into the basket.
That was really good. They play it with a little flair, too. They're not afraid to play with a little bit of something.
17 for Stephen Browning. There you see some of the basics of the Elam ending that will take effect. 75-68, Big X the lead.
See, I don't like this out of Big X. Big X got to keep the ball moving and keep people moving, because I'm telling you, West Virginia is tired.
Boo Boo Palo.
Nice
On the baseline. Feed is poked away. And here come the West Virginia Wildcats. Quick one in the air. John Elmore, no good. Offensive board, Taylor. Odd Elmore left alone.
Nope. Look at
Taylor again on the board. Ooh, and he hits the deck hard after an offensive rebound and a try.
Taylor is big, strong, and willing. Man, he's fun to watch. I'm telling you, he's going to be 50 years old, getting buckets in a league against guys in their 20s, and they're going to say, I don't know how he does it. How does he do this?
Boo Boo Palo with a foul.
What do we want first?
Ryan Taylor will shoot the free throws, then we'll get a dead ball, and the Elam ending target score will be established. Ryan Taylor misses his first one. He's got a 16-point game going, and his work on the offensive glass has been vital to him.
It really has. I mean, look, the threes aren't all going in, and I think that Big X has done a really good job defending the perimeter, switching to John Elmore, but he has been the difference in keeping them in the game. Taylor has.
17 points for Taylor. There's the target score for the Elam ending here at the basketball tournament with Big X and the West Virginia Wildcats. Stops. A target score set. Take the leading team score, add 8 points. That's the target score. And the first team to reach the target score wins the game. It was 7 last year. It's been added to 8 now. So even though you were trailing in the game, you've got an opportunity, if you can play some pretty solid defense, to come from behind and win this baby.
And the reason, I talked to Nick Elam the other day, the creator of it, the reason is because it's an ongoing thing. He is collecting data. He collected data from this event and decided, after reading it, researching it, studying it, that 8 was the appropriate number. So there you go.
And what it does is it takes away what we see oftentimes in college basketball, the fouling to send teams to the line to try and shorten the game.
It really does. And it enables, how much time is spent walking back and forth, right? I mean, we foul, we walk down here, you foul, we walk down, that kind of stuff. And it's not, there is no more of that in this.
Well, Big X has the lead in the ball. C.J. Jackson gives it up, working down low is Cameron Vines, who finds the bottom of the bucket.
I tell you what, that's a heck of a find, Vines. Found him late. Went to St. Joe's College, Division III school in Rensselaer, Indiana. That's no longer available. You can't. There is no longer a St. Joe's College.
Parker fouled on the drive. Yeah.
Used to have the best summer basketball camp called the BC Camp. Bill Cronauer had a camp, and every great player in the 70s went to Rensselaer, Indiana for the BC Camp. And Naked City, Indiana's in that area.
Who?
Naked City, Indiana. Roselawn. They have a nudist college.
You would bring that to the show tonight. Thanks for classing the joint up.
And as I said earlier, it's where the mob in Chicago used to dig holes in the cornfields of Northwest Indiana, Rensselaer, Indiana.
Terry Wynn splits the bear.
Dick Butkus, Gail Sayers. They used to stay in the dorms. The Bears practice there.
It's an education every moment with you. You know that? Ball whipped around. Boo Boo Palo on the drive for Big X. Vines misses.
No, you just need points now right here. You got the stop. You just need points if you're West Virginia. West Virginia, without question, can go on a 13-0 run shooting the ball.
Boo Boo Palo with a foul. By the way, Ryan Taylor a double-double, 17 and 10 tonight for the West Virginia Wildcats.
If you had one of those rules where you could take somebody off the opposing team as you move forward, if you added that, I'll tell you this, Ryan Taylor would be a pretty good guy to put on any team in this thing.
77-70, Big X ahead of the West Virginia Wildcats. There you see the score, 77-70. Big X over the West Virginia Wildcats, but the Elam ending target score is 83. The first to get to 83 wins the game. John Elmore bumped by Amir Bell and fell. It looked like a flanker on a fly screen getting hit by a linebacker, didn't it?
It's about the third one of those. John Elmore's tough, man. I wouldn't mind if I'm West Virginia seeing Browning get a look. Oh, that's a bad move. Got away with it, but that's bad business. Missing a switch away from John Elmore.
Big X, Keyshawn Woods. Can't get it. Ball to the Wildcats.
Three's great if you make it. Let's be honest. I mean, the three makes it a one-possession game, and Keyshawn Woods shooting that. There's nothing wrong with that. I would like to see Browning get a shot here if I am West Virginia. I just feel, drive it and get fouled.
Taylor does get fouled. Boo Boo Paulo, his fourth. So Taylor, who has a double-double going, looks to extend it. One of the many Marshall Thundering Herd players on this roster.
Interesting free throw. He takes his fingers off the ball and he pats it a little bit. A lot of guys do that. I've never understood it, but a lot of guys do it. See that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a great play right there.
Taylor with it after the offensive rebound. Keeps it alive, Ryan Taylor. Lays it in and draw. No charge on Taylor.
I find it hard to believe that Woods was inside or outside the arc. Are they calling it and one? Oh, they called it.
Oh,
called it good.
They called it good.
Wow, I thought they called offensive foul.
I did too.
Yeah, sure did. Called it a block.
So Ryan Taylor, 20 points. Keyshawn Woods, his second foul. 77-73. Big X the lead. Taylor misses on the back end, but we're going to get an offensive.
No.
Defensive foul?
Defensive. Holding.
There was somebody held that got away with one on the offensive side. But Orlando Parker will go to the free throw line.
What a turn of events here. If you are Big X, you got to drive this ball to the bucket. You got to get points on this possession. This is a heck of a play, heck of an opportunity here for West Virginia.
Parker misses the free throw for West Virginia, and here's a look at how the West Virginia Wildcats will share their $2 million sent with Zell. Figure out how that's all going to be divvied up.
This is a hard playing kid, Parker. I like everything about I like him and Taylor, man. They're strong, play hard. Now, little game pressure right now on Big X. Andrew Dawkins, I think, made a good move getting Stuart Douglas back in this ball game along with Sears.
Parker with 8. C.J. Jackson lobs it for Sears underneath. And he was out of bounds when he came up with a miss. This is a present 6-0 run going for the West Virginia Wildcats.
Told you, I'm not surprised. I mean, they could go 13-0 in a split second, and you're going to see Elmore or Browning get a shot here, or we're going to go back to Taylor driving.
As you can see in the upper right corner of the screen, the target score is 83. There's Stevie Browning, doubled up. Elmore underneath the ball, batted away from Wynn.
Now you got to be smart, Paulo. Wasn't smart. Got going too fast. You can see it coming, Paul. You can see Paulo made an unbelievable defensive play and then got going way too fast. And next thing you know, charge. Watch this. He's just going too fast right here. Guess who stood in there? Ryan Taylor.
Ryan Taylor. Well, Andrew Dawkins is going to get a timeout taken here. It is a 77-74 lead for Big X, but the West Virginia Wildcats, who started the game on fire, cooled off considerably, but they found a stroke as they try to approach that 83 target score to win the game. And Nicholas and Dodd Elmore, Gay Elmore, excuse me, in the Big X huddle for Andrew Dawkins.
Got to play without fouling because you're going to put him on the line. But I'll tell you this, I'd rather foul and give Elmore a good-looking three.
Agreed. Which Elmore? Either?
No, I'll let any other Elmore other than John shoot it. But between John and Browning, I'd rather foul. Now, the one thing that you run into, Sears is a great defender, but he is not as strong as Ryan Taylor. You're going to see them coming down here right side of your screen. You cannot give Ryan Taylor a three-point play.
West Virginia Wildcats have Ryan Taylor bringing it to the stripe.
There he goes.
Down on the block. Into the lane. And Douglas cleans it up for Big X.
Now, I agree with what Andrew Dockage is saying. Get the ball down the floor and get it moving. He wanted him going. They're slowing it down. Not great.
Jackson against Elmore. Jackson up with it. No good. Sears another offensive rebound and a foul.
Tell you this, Big X has made the two hardest shots of the day. Stuart Douglas threw one in from in front of us, and then C.J. Jackson just threw the thing in as well. So he can't make a bucket here. Going to the rim. A lot of contact down here, but Sears, who just is a winning guy, he gets abused.
His 18th point.
Now, one of the things that's big in basketball, Paul, and you've seen this, teams get stuck on a number. Like Big X was stuck on 77 for seems like forever. But just making that free throw and getting him off that number makes everybody in the building for Big X feel better.
78-74, Big X. West Virginia Wildcats.
What's going on?
Stevie Browning. Now John Elmore. Feeds it in the corner, poked away, saved.
3 seconds or something.
Taylor, what? Crazy talk.
I was sitting there watching Ryan Taylor, and I was like, wow, all right, I don't care about 3 seconds. Then it was like, wait a second. Now we're at 8 or 9.
Terry Wynn with a foul, his third.
And this is what you want, all right? Watch right here. Okay, there's the foul. It's over the back. But let's talk about the Elam ending. You got to make these 2 free throws, Paul, because now you have a one-possession game, and it's so important to get to the one possession because what happens is it spreads the defense out. Why? Because they don't want to give up a 3.
Keyshawn Woods knocks it in. Saturday, we'll have our next UFC Fight Night main card, highlighted by Rafael Dos Anjos and Leon Edwards in the main event as both fighters look to continue their path toward title contention. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app, with prelims beginning at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific.
Can't give this shot up right here that they're going to give up because that kid will make it.
Parker misses it. Big X 3 away from ending the game. They lead at 80-74 with a target score of 83. Keyshawn Woods.
See how spread the floor is? Everybody's staying. Oh, wow.
Long one. No good.
Bad shot. You don't need that. What are you doing? You're trying to win $2 million.
John Elmore in traffic. Draws a foul underneath. No. Charge.
All right, Keyshawn. So you made the bad play down here, and then you got a charge on the other end. There you go. Now, that's what you're supposed to do as a basketball player if you want to know the truth. If you miss a shot, don't sulk. Sprint back. I mean, Keyshawn Woods screwed the whole thing up offensively, and now he's standing right in there and takes a charge. That's a great move by Keyshawn Woods. You know what he did? He kept his toe up, too. He put his toe down and kept his heel up outside of the arc. Pretty good move by Woods.
Well, they're going to give Elmore a little time to gather himself.
They might be looking at whether or not Woods was outside the arc, Paul. I think he lifted up his right heel, keeping himself outside the lane or outside the arc.
Keyshawn Woods has got a 17-point game going, but we've seen him make some defensive plays like that.
Yeah. Did we see that at Ohio State?
Some.
I liked him at Ohio State.
Well, he really played well in the end of the season. The Big Ten tournament and their 2 NCAA tournament games, especially against Iowa State, a win that Ohio State had out in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Man, is Chris Holtman doing a great job.
Fantabulous.
Whew.
Great recruiting class coming in.
They're all there now this summer.
And a tough schedule coming up, too.
He's not messing around.
Well,
you know what might have been their best win last year other than the NCAA win? The first game of the year going to Cincinnati.
Huge.
Open a new kind of renovated building.
Renovated, and they'll open with Cincinnati at the Schottenstein Center this year. Double-double by Justin Sears of Big X, 18 points, 10 rebounds. And Ryan Taylor with a double-double of 20 and 11, and it appears they are looking at just what you talked about, Dan.
I was born at night, but it wasn't last night.
You sure?
I gotta think about that.
Okay.
I don't even know what I did last night. You were at the Big Ten meetings.
Yes.
Jim Harbaugh, making news.
Yes, he did. He certainly did.
Text Urban, I'm like, stop it. Stop annoying all these people. What are you doing?
Come on.
Like, why are you bothering Jim Harbaugh? You're not even around there. You just beat the out of him. And
yeah, Tank 60-something on him.
Yeah. I think his right heel is up. Let's see. There's his left heel. Right heel's up, right?
It's up.
That's what I thought.
Now, here's another thing that was a big aggravating point. Shouldn't create words here, Paul. College basketball season, the length of some of the reviews.
Ridiculous. Like I'm telling you, and I saw that on the first replay. Now, my career doesn't depend on being right here. And I'm wrong. I just move on to the next dumb thing I'm going to say. But these guys got to get it right, and I don't think it needs to take this long.
And that's, you mentioned it, Dan. Everybody wants to get it right, but it kind of makes a tough job even more difficult with the initial call.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, the referee's here because he's really good. These are all the highest level college refs at the TBT. And he made the call. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what everybody hopes. 80-74, Big X, the lead over the West Virginia Wildcats. Big X 3 points away from winning the game. Winning earlier today, Mid-American Unity. And the Red Scare here at Capital University in Columbus. I believe they
overturned it. I think they overturned it.
Overturned it, so they called the foul on Woods. So Keyshawn Woods with a foul, and that's going to put John Elmore at the line.
A little silly. I thought what didn't we see? I mean, these are some old eyes between you and me.
Isn't that the truth? First one good. John Elmore's 20th point. That have seen a lot.
And we'll see more.
Yes. And some things we shouldn't see.
Yeah, absolutely right.
A couple for John Elmore at the free throw line for the West Virginia Wildcats. 80-76 Big X. But again, it's an 83 target score. First team to get it wins it. C.J. Jackson.
Man, great call. Andrew Dockage had Stu Douglas set a ball screen on the ball, but he screened his own man so that they couldn't switch. That was outstanding. Throw it ahead and you win.
Foul, and it could be one at the free throw line possibly. Here's Justin Sears. Was part of that transition. Stevie Browning with a foul.
Man, I'll tell you what, my man here, Andrew, set a heck of a play up. Watch this. He's going to screen his own man, Stu Douglas, right there. That opens up the entire floor. I tell you what, Andrew Dockage earned his money with that play call, and Stu Douglas, the right guy, because he looked like a pulling guard. He looked like Jim Lachey out there, a tackle for the win.
Nope. Justin Sears. Of course, Jim Lachey, a guard at Ohio State, a tackle in the NFL.
That's right. I didn't know that. Joe Stasiak, one of my partners.
He's a good one.
He's the best.
Justin Sears for the win.
There you go.
Locks it up with his 19th point. And it's 83-76. Big X with a victory here at the basketball tournament in Columbus over the West Virginia Wildcats. And Big X overcomes a slow start, but they're able to do what they need to do and get the victory here to move on in the basketball tournament.
You know, Sears deserved to make that free throw. You know what? He's been doing all the dirty work. He's had to bang up against Ryan Taylor, who's as physical a big kid. And tell you what, good win for Big X. They were a game-time decision with Jayshawn Tate. Andrew Dockage gets a win. See who puts it up on the board there, C.J. Jackson. This is a great tradition.
Absolutely.
NCAA tournament took it on, which was smart, but that's good stuff.
There's C.J. Jackson, who contributed 22 points for Big X as they get the victory, dispatching the West Virginia Wildcats 83-76. So you'll get a look at the bracket and how things will be set up tomorrow afternoon.
What's up, kid?
Here at the Capitol
How you doing,
Center.
man?
Big X will await the winner of our second game this evening, which will be Carmen's Crew and Illinois BC. Red Scare, a bunch of Dayton Flyers advanced tonight, beating the region where they'll take on Mid-American Unity, but Big X takes a step forward. And a guy that helped them take that big step forward is a guy that's used to playing basketball here in Columbus, CJ Jackson, with Jen Hale.
Indeed, guys. CJ, congratulations. This one came down to the wire after a slow start for y'all. What was the key to sealing the deal at the very end with that Elam ending?
The biggest thing was just sticking together. We knew what we had to do from the beginning. We got to a rough start in the beginning. So we just had to keep grinding it out, and that's what we did, and we ended up getting the win.
Walk me through that last clutch two-pointer. 22 points overall for you, but perhaps that last basket might be argued the most important one.
Yeah, we knew they were switching every ball screen. So Stu, unbelievable guy, unbelievable coach. He just set the screen on his own man, and it laid me right to the basket.
All right, you got to give a little critique for me here. Last year, Andrew Dockich played on this team. This year, he was coaching. He said this was really his inaugural run. How do you think he did?
He just said to me he got his first win as a head coach, so I'm happy for him. He's an unbelievable guy. I wouldn't want to play with anybody else.
All right, tomorrow you've got a big game against the winner of whoever wins our next game. What do you do tonight? Do you stick around and scout them? Do you go get some rest? Do you evaluate your own tape from tonight?
Yeah, we'll probably stick around for a little bit, but biggest thing is rest. Guys got familiar with each other, just getting the first one out of the way, and just got to be ready for tomorrow at 2.
If it's Carmen's Crew, that will be another Ohio State-dominated team. Will there be a little something extra?
We just would love to play those guys. You know, those are the guys we kind of watched growing up, watching Ohio State, and just having the chance to play them in an atmosphere like this, it'll be fun.
We're looking forward to it. Congrats on the win tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, Jen, thank you very much. CJ Jackson, who played 3 years here in Columbus for the Ohio State Buckeyes, but certainly he goes through everything and helps his team tonight be able to pick up this victory. Not only just the 22 points, Dan, but 4 assists, 4 rebounds.
Difference in the game. I mean, they were losing. And then all of a sudden, I think CJ got a little more comfortable when Keyshawn came in there, a kid that he played with at Ohio State. And Stu Douglas, I thought, was fantastic as well. Those 3 guys got got Big X back into the game. And you know what? It changed. I think Andrew said it at halftime. Everybody got their feet kind of on the ground, got ready to go, got their legs under them. And I think CJ Jackson, I think Stu Douglas and Keyshawn Woods were the key to that.
Well, certainly they were able to get some help from Justin Sears with a double-double. He gets the game-winning free throw. But this is a basketball team that, as you mentioned, they had to make that late change with Cameron Vines. And he's a guy that did some intangibles for Big X here tonight.
He did. You know what? One of the things, Cameron Vines came over, and Andrew was, he was in a bit of a panic. He was at our house the other day, and 2 kids, one of Jay Shante, 2 of his best weren't going to play, and he was scrambling, and somebody mentioned Cameron Vines. Cameron Vines made 2 really good plays. He made a steal in the first half, and then he made a steal at the end of the first half there where they were able to get another point and stop West Virginia from getting a point. It was really, really a good performance by Cameron Vines.
Well, we anticipate hoping to hear from Andrew Dockich, the winning coach, shortly, but here's a little bit of a sneak peek at what's going to be coming up next with the basketball tournament games coming up on all of the ESPN outlets. Greensboro, you see what's going on. Then, of course, the game coming up here in Columbus later tonight with Carmen's Crew and Illinois BC. How about a regional being held in the hotbed of Lexington, Kentucky, Dan?
Yeah, you know what? Lexington, the Lexington Bluegrass boys, they'll have their hands full. This is not, hey, look, it's not John Wall playing out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a good group, but they'll have their hands full, I promise you, with D2. And this is going to be an interesting game here because the guys from Illinois are big, strong guys. Michael Finke, who was an all-WAC player at Grand Canyon, just added to the team of Illinois. And this is going to be interesting here, this second game.
It certainly will be. There's a look at some of the other ones that are going on. Another great location for basketball, Memphis, that's going on. The Power of the Paw, that's the Clemson group that has been assembled for this. But this game coming up, Carmen's Crew, which previously had been identified as Scarlet and Gray, but a name change was necessitated, and then Illinois BC, which is represented by some of the Fighting Illini players that have romped around the Big Ten for a while.
One of the fun things about watching Carmen's Crew, formerly Scarlet and Gray, is the togetherness that they have. You've got Diebler out there. You've got Ravenel out there. You've got Sullinger out there, who, by the way, looks in great shape. You've got a bunch of guys that know each other, have known each other forever. David Leidy played together, played on a team that was, as you know, number 1 in the country. And you know what? That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it a lot of fun to watch these guys who like each other, have played together for years, and they practice some. So, you know what? At the end of the day, it's going to be hard to beat them, certainly here in Columbus.
Yes, and there'll be a big crowd on hand for this. The Illinois BC team is one that features some names for those who follow some Big Ten basketball that are familiar, but also some guys. You mentioned Michael Finke, but some guys that have established themselves overseas and have had great careers across the pond.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see, a couple of guys. Cordell James, a good player out of Morehead State. Brett Arrington, also from Morehead State. Again, on the other side here, you've got guys that have played together as well. And that's interesting. The Elmore kids, guys, if they had their guy Perea, they would have played, I think, and won the game. I mean, because there's a bunch of guys in that first game that know one another. Both of these teams know one another very, very well. Not that they know the other team. They know their own team. They have played together for a while, and that's what I think is going to make this game a lot of fun.
The Carmen's Crew team is being coached by Jared Sullinger. Now, that is a late change. Scooney Penn, the former Ohio State great who's been part of Chris Holtman's staff and was the key cog in their 1999 Final Four team, originally slated to coach. He will not be coaching them. Jared Sullinger will coach tonight. Dallas Lauderdale will coach tomorrow should they advance. But Jared Sullinger, from a basketball family and a guy that certainly in his own right was a major force playing for Ohio State.
Jared Sullinger's wedding last year ruined the Scarlet and Gray.
Yeah, they pinch hit with Greg Oden.
But, I mean, everybody went to the wedding, and everybody was a little bit slow last year.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you're in your 20s. You go to a wedding. What do you think's going to happen? But, no, Jared Sullinger looks great. I saw his dad, Satch. His brother, JJ, is here. Look, this is a together group. And it's one of the fun things that I have learned having my son come over here to Ohio State. Thad Matta and now Chris Holtman have done a wonderful job of creating a culture of acceptance and almost reliance, really, on former players. You see William Buford out there. I mean, there's just a lot of guys. They love coming back. They love living in Columbus, and it's a big deal. It really is.
How about Jen Hale with a winning coach from our last game?
Yeah, thanks, guys, indeed. Andrew Duckett, congratulations. We pulled you out of the locker room. What was your message to your team after this big victory?
We celebrated for a second, then we said, you know what, we got to play at 2 tomorrow against one of these two teams on ESPN. We went from ESPN 2 to ESPN, so it's a pretty good thing.
When you look back at that win, you had a slow start. You got to the charity stripe an awful lot of times.
Yeah.
What was the key to sealing the deal?
Truthfully, C.J. Jackson, Keyshawn Woods, the two Ohio State guys, they played exceptional. I'm so happy for them because they did an unbelievable job this year for our team, and for them to show out like this was phenomenal.
And also, Justin Sears doing some dirty work for you.
No, Justin Sears was a problem. He's a unbelievable competitor. He was a two-time Ivy League Player of the Year for a reason. He just does it all, and I couldn't be happy for him. I would have killed him if he didn't make that last free throw because I was suffering a little bit on that one.
You were a little nervous?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I quit. My dad would tell me I should quit now while I'm ahead with the 1-0. I got the raspy voice already, so.
You sound like a coach. You're doing great.
Yeah.
What's your self-evaluation, self-scout your first game?
I talk way too much. I got to let these players play. I can tell. I can relate with those guys a little bit. I don't need to always say what to do. These guys know what to do. Players make plays, and that's all it is. I credit all of that. I mean, we threw out the playbook and let them ball, and it was great. It was great to see.
Did you have fun? Did you enjoy the coaching process?
I only enjoyed it until we scored the 83rd point, but everything else in between, no, not at all.
All right, you got a big one tomorrow, as you mentioned. Do you stick around tonight and scout the winner of this next game? Do you look at your own tape?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm scouting them, and I know all these guys. They're unbelievable players. They made a living out of this, and it's great to see Buckeye Nation come out here and support these guys because they deserve it. They really do deserve it with what the kind of careers they've had.
It's going to be fun to watch. We'll see you tomorrow at 2.
Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Guys.
Thank you, Jen. Congratulations, Coach Andrew Dockich with win number 1. It's Illinois, BC, and Carmen's Crew coming up next here at the basketball tournament from Capital University in Columbus, Ohio.
legends are everywhere. Damn.
What's going on?